his removal by 36 of the 40 lawmakers say it was a nullity. Officers arrived at the assembly complex with two lawmakers, Ainde Akinsanya, Mushin Constituency 1, and Nahim Adams, Mushin Constituency 2, accompanied by policemen and a handful of supporters. Ironically, Mrs. Mujisola Miranda, who was installed as the speaker following Obasa's removal, had a police security detail withdrawn. They were returned later, according to Commissioner of Police Jimo Moshood. Obasa said he presided over plenary and thereafter adjourned but some of the anti-Obasa lawmakers who shoved him out aside on January 13 showed up at the assembly complex, fuming over his action. They urged the leadership of the All Progressives Congress (APC) in the state to intervene. The aggrieved lawmakers, led by House Committee Chairman on Information Strategy and Security Stephen Ogundekwe, addressed reporters at the assembly complex in Alausa Ikeja and moved to State APC Secretariat to lay their complaints before State Chairman Ojelabi. They reiterated their rejection of Obasa as Speaker, warning against the consequences of his return. There were other developments. Obasa later, made some further claims as to his action. Then, in the Punch newspaper, Lagos Assembly, Obasa returns as Akonde Osoba panel's intervention collapses. It says that the ousted Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, returned to the House in a shocking move on Thursday. So, following the development of his removal, there were many actions and reactions. A development also portends perhaps the intervention of key chieftains of the All Progressives Congress, notably former Governor of Osun State and Ogun State Chief Bisi Akonde and Aremo Olusegun Osoba, respectively, did not resolve the crisis. That is an information gathered by the Punch newspaper. See details in both the Punch newspaper, the Nation newspaper, as well as other newspaper outlet this morning. A couple of reactions have been trailing that development since yesterday. Both headlines says Lagos Assembly, Obasa returns as Akonde Osoba panel's intervention collapses, and in the Nation newspaper, Obasa, I remain Lagos Speaker. Grab both copy to see details of that development. To some business news this morning. In the Punch newspaper, MTN report 400 billion naira loss as naira devaluation eats earnings. It says MTN Nigeria reported a 400.44 billion loss after tax for the year ended December 31st, 2024, as the devaluation of the naira drove up foreign exchange losses and weighed on the company's earnings. The loss disclosed in the company's audited financial statement released yesterday represent a 192% increase from the 137.02 billion naira loss recorded in 2023. The operator, with over 80 million customers, said the sharp depreciation of the naira significantly impacted its foreign exchange exposure, with forex losses surging to 925 billion naira from 740 billion naira in the previous year. See details of that development in the Punch newspaper this morning. MTN report 400 billion naira loss. It's hike necessary to save jobs. That's according to Tijani. A 50% telecom tariff hike was necessary to save job losses from companies collapse. Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, said yesterday. He explained that the government carefully considered the decision given the critical role the telecom sector plays in the economy. The minister noted that the sector, including its entire value chain, explores nearly 500,000 Nigerians, making it a significant contributor to national development. He spoke with reporters at the State House, Abuja, where he says, and I quote, "If we choose not to allow the increase in tariff, we would be at risk of losing jobs, as some of these companies could pack up. And when you weigh that, it's also not the best thing for the economy. Grab a copy of the Nation newspaper to see details of that story. Telecom tariff hikes necessary to save jobs, says electricity business owners, CSOs, kick rather, as federal government plans another tariff hike. It says small business owners, civil society organizations, NGOs have said there is no justification for the proposed further hike in electricity tariffs following disclosure by the federal government yesterday that it is considering increasing tariffs for consumer or customers outside the Band A category to improve the liquidity of Nigerian electricity supply industry. NESI. The Minister of Power, Chief Adebayo Adelabu, who disclosed this at the public presentation of the National Integrated Electricity Policy and Nigeria Integrated Resource Plan in Abuja, said government can no longer afford the 3 trillion power sector subsidy. He pointed out that debt-owned power generation companies, GENCOs, and had risen to 4 trillion and is unsustainable. According to Adelabu, who says, and I quote now, the key issue in the market is illiquidity, and sector reforms will continue to focus on that. We'll look at the tariff again. I'm not saying we are going to increase the tariff. We are going to look at the tariff and see how we can improve on our modest achievement of last year, not only to ensure that we grow the sector revenue, but to also ensure that we are able to invest more in revamping dilapidated infrastructure so that the infrastructure crisis carries the kinds of reliable electricity that we envisage for the sector. We'll look at it. Those are the words of the minister there. He noted that with Band B customers receiving about 18 hours of electricity supply and paying 63 naira per kilowatt, I guess that's correct, the gap between the category of customers and Band A customers has now become problematic. So he clarified on some of this development and the Band A, Band B, category. So it's all detailed in the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Electricity business owners, CSOs, kick as federal government plans another tariff hike. Essence of CBN's decision on Naira stability inflation, that an exploration by someone as put together by the Punch newspaper. I would say you should grab a copy to see the details of that write-up as put together by Sami Tsunji, who explores the CBN's the Central Bank of Nigeria's recent monetary policy as it relates to stabilization of the Naira and curbing inflation. See Punch newspaper, to see details of that development. All right, away from business news, IBB should allow Vatsa arrest after killing him for alleged coup. That's according to the family. The family of late General Maman Vatsa has said that the autobiography of military president Ibrahim Babangida, which was presented to the public last week, is full of lies and not only fit as a reference material for crimes. A supreme military tribunal found Vatsa and other co-conspirators guilty of a coup plot and sentenced them to death by firing squad, a sentence which Vatsa challenged and appealed against. However, prior to the ruling, that's according to the development there, but there have been reactions from the family where they claim that in Babangida's autobiography that the killing of the late Vatsa was justified because there was enough evidence implicating him in the coup, and his death was to ensure national stability of the country. But the spokesperson of the family, who was a former commissioner of information, culture and tourism in Niger State, Jonathan, said while addressing newsmen reacted to Babangida's claim in the book, which he continued to generate controversy. He described Babangida as a man who has lost out in the affairs of honor over many lies contained in the autobiography. It's detailed in the Punch newspaper this morning. See details. IBB should allow Vat's arrest after killing him for alleged coup. That's according to the family. I rejected 500 million offers from ministers, DGs during my mother's burial. That's the EFCC chair saying. It says the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC chairman, Oladoyin Ayegbusi, on Thursday disclosed how he turned down offers from government officials amounting to 500 million naira during his mother's funeral in 2019. The EFCC boss, who spoke at the 38th Anti-Corruption Situation Room in Abuja, explained that the substantial gifts, which include checks and drafts, were sent to him by ministers, directors, MDAs, and other high-ranking government officials. Olukoyede noted that he was serving as the secretary of the commission at the time he buried his mother. There were other developments. It's quite a long read, but see details in the Daily Post newspaper this morning. I rejected 500 million naira offers from ministers, DGs during my mother's burial. EFCC chair. And in the Vanguard newspaper, God, not El-Rufai, will decide 2027. That's coming from Maman. Who is Maman? We'll get to find out. It has this rather, it says, as 225 local government councillors endorse Tinubu Governor Sani for second term. Now, this is saying that the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs in Kaduna State, Alhaji Sadiq Manman, at Lagos yesterday, said that the former governor, Nasir El-Rufai, cannot decide on what will happen in 2027, but only God can decide. He also decried El-Rufai's comment against President Bola Tinubu and Governor Obasani of Kaduna State. He told El-Rufai to steer clear of Kaduna, pointing out that God will decide who will win the governorship election and presidential election in 2027. He was speaking in an interview with journalists in Lagos yesterday. So see details in the Vanguard newspaper this morning. God, not El-Rufai, will decide 2027. That's according to Maman. All right, let's open the studio line 07047007701 or 07072766278. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my presenter.
Good morning.
I'm happy to join you this morning. My name is Comrade Adedoyin from Osokiti.
Please go ahead, sir.
The sit-tight syndrome usually ended with crisis and death. I just want to advise the Speaker of Lagos State House of Assembly, Obasa, to step down. If the House don't want him again, he has been there for a very long time. Why should he exist that he must be the Speaker of Lagos State House of Assembly? If the House said they don't want him, let another person come in. Because it will not speak well. If there's problem in that house, it will affect the whole state. Because death will rule. I pray death will not rule in the House of Assembly in Lagos State.
Amen.
Then,
thank you.
Mama Vasa, the ghost of Mama Vasa will wait on the road when Babangida died by the grace of God, because he wasted that man. Mama Vasa is a literary writer. He's a poet. You cannot imagine that he's a military officer, that Babangida wasted him. It's not cool. He only robbed him simply because of promotion. Vasa told Babangida that you are from Western region.
All right, we need to pick other calls now. We need to give room for other persons. Thank you so much, comrade. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
That name and where are you calling us from?
I'm Pastor Azan calling from Oyeki.
Please go ahead, sir.
I just want to talk on the issue of Obasa, and we are just employing him just to give peace chance in Lagos State. Because I believe it's those people that choose him, it's not constitutional right that he should be the only one. Since people choose him and they say they don't want to, at least he should have taken a step and come out of it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, commuter.
Good morning. Your name and where are you calling us from?
And the auditor is speaking there.
All right, go ahead.
I'm coming to Obasa. Saleh are the best food.
Please go ahead. We can hear you.
I say challenge are the best way to expose who your friend and enemy are. Your attitude will determine your attitude in life. So I worry about Obasa. How can you force yourself to be heard in that very particular area? Who takes lead and has no one follow him? He's only taking a walk. So Obasa supposed to think. And pertaining to IBB, where everything has to go to judge him.
All right.
It's a trade off.
All right. All right. Thank you so much for your for your contribution there. Hello. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. From Adifalana from Agiro.
Please go ahead.
I want to talk on EFCC's boss rejecting 500 million pesos by those people who stole it. We had a revelation. The revelation was good and a welcome development. That we want him to expend the actions on those governors that coined the Ekiti money, the two former governors that coined our 30 billion money. Is to expect action on them. They are now about 4 years ago they coined their money and nothing has been done. Is to expect action and get our money from there.
All right. Thank you so much for your contribution there. Hello. Good morning. All right, we lost the call. 07047007701 or 0707276628. The lines are still open. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where you calling us from?
This is Emmanuel from Mission.
All right, Mr. Emmanuel, go ahead.
I want to reply to the comment by the EFCC chairman that he was offered 500 million naira. He should not just make that comment. He should name the minister, or what they call the minister and the DG concerned, and they should tell us where that 500 million naira is coming from. This is the corruption we are talking about. Secondly, about this unending tariff, when are we going to end it? And yet, this government is performing. In fact, this increase in tariff has rubbished the so-called newly approved minimum wage. God bless them. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel. And this is where we wrap it up on this morning's edition of the Daily Dose on Adamimogo 107.7 FM. It will get to the last one in the month of February 2025. So the next time we're going to be bringing the Daily Dose to your hearing, we'll already be in March, and I pray God preserves our lives till then. So till then, my name is Oladoyin Ayegbusi. Good morning and happy Ramadan in advance to our Muslim brothers.